ever looked at the night sky and wondered, what else is beyond those twinkling stars? The answer is space. How can we see all this and learn so much? The answer is space technology. Telescopes have helped us see the wide variety in space. Rovers and probes have helped us explore our solar system. Rockets have let us experience being in space. Today, I will be telling you how all of space technology has affected our knowledge of planetary science. Planetary science is the study of planets, moons, and planetary systems. Basically, the study of space. Planetary science is a huge part of astronomy. We need planetary science to even think of one day terraforming a planet or making a planet habitable. In fact, we need planetary science to even think about the planets themselves. Space technology is very important to our learning. Telescopes and satellites are a huge part of this technology. They see more of space and help us study the Earth too. Have you ever texted a friend? Well, the text you send gets sent to a satellite, and the satellite sends it down to your friend's phone, in less than a second too. Satellites are also used for the learning of weather and GPS. Space technology is all around us. Now let's go deeper into telescopes. I'll give you a brief view of the history of telescopes. Telescopes go way back to the early 1600s with Galileo and his telescope. This is Galileo's telescope right here. Galileo's telescope was the first telescope ever used to study space. Later on, John Kepler improved Galileo's telescope's magnification, but as he did so, the telescope was inverted or turned upside down, as the image you saw was not right side up. A while later, Isaac Newton made the Newtonian telescope, or the first reflector telescope. Reflector telescopes use mirrors to magnify the image that you see. More recently, NASA and ESA launched the Hubble Space Telescope. I'll get into the Hubble Space Telescope later. Let's go into Galileo Galilei. Galileo was the first astronomer. He did not make the telescope, but he did do some amazing things. He was the first one to aim it up at the sky to study space. With that, he discovered the first 4 moons of Jupiter. They are now called the Galilean moons, as they were Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. He also discovered the rings of Saturn, which were made out of ice, gas, and gas. Let's zoom in on the Hubble Space Telescope. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched in 1990, had 5 repair missions, and still in use today. Hubble was launched into space to avoid the flaw of Earth telescopes. The Earth's atmosphere distorts what telescopes see. Hubble has helped us like no other telescope has. It's shown us what we now call the Hubble Deep Field because it was able to see so far away. It's also seen stuff that's not that far away, but still pretty amazing. Supernova 1987A, when it exploded, it gave off radiation, letting 2 rings of gas around it light up, letting Hubble get a clear view of it. It's also seen the surface of Pluto, the farthest planet and dwarf planet from the Sun. It's seen the comet hit Jupiter, making splotches in its atmosphere, and it's even seen a storm on Saturn bigger than the Earth. Hubble is one of the best telescopes that I think ever created. It may be 30 years old, but even my interviewee, Andrew Bundes, an astrophysicist, agrees. Now, let's go into rovers. Rovers study a planet by driving on the planet and collecting data like rocks, soil, and maybe evidences of water. A great rover on Mars has helped us for many years, the Curiosity rover. The Curiosity rover has been a main component in Mars exploration program. It's one of the most helpful rovers, but it's not the only one. Rovers are special to planets because they are able to go onto the planet and collect special data. Now, probes look at a planet from the outside, like satellites on Earth. There are probes studying Mars, Venus, Jupiter, many others too, but that's what they do most of the time. Sometimes probes study multiple planets, like Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 flew past the entire solar system. This is Voyager 2 on the board. Also, the Mariners are examples. Mariner 2 flew past Venus and confirmed the planet was hot. Later, Mariner 9 saw on Mars the largest volcano in the solar system. So, telescopes aren't the only helpful technologies. The Hubble Space Telescope and all space technologies are great. They help us so much. But what are we going to do with their information? All rovers and probes and telescopes. What are we going to do? We're going to take that knowledge and use it towards more advanced and elaborate technology. Hubble's information is great, but it's getting old. As I said earlier, it's practically 30 years old. That's why the James Webb Space Telescope will be the next generation of space technology and the successor of Hubble. James Webb will be very ambitious, as it'll be 1 million miles away from Earth, farther than the moon. They sent it out of this far to get it out of Earth's heat and light, which could distract James Webb from its mission. It's very risky. It will be out of repair range like that Hubble was in. So if it fails, it could, as Andrew Bundes, my interviewee, said, it would be a very expensive piece of metal floating around in space. So Hubble could be better in some ways, but what do you think? In the end, I found out that space technology is very helpful and will become more dependent on it in the future as we make it better and better. Each space technology will be a stepping stool for our next one. As we grow more and more dependent, it will grow better and better. That's what will happen forever, always repeating. Thank you for coming. For more information, visit my blog at blogs.squaresschools.org/dcap126 or scan the QR code.